You're all very welcome to this small practice information session 85. We're joined today by Darren Gibson and Aileen from Gibson and Associates, and we're going to be discussing new ways of working. I think Darren seems to have seized there. Is that?
Mm-hmm. You can always there's always the good side of IT, and then there's the not so good side.
So we'll just pause there briefly and see whether we could get Darren to come on. Maybe possibly he should log out and log back in again. It looks like he's fallen away. So Darren or Aileen, would you like to start, or do you want to see whether we can just wait a second for Darren to join the call? Maybe we'll just wait.
We can wait a second for Darren. I think
here he comes.
He's the best. There we go.
Hi Darren, we lost you there for a few seconds. So
sorry, Justin.
No, you're no problem. So a few technical difficulties. So whenever you're ready, if you want to share your screen, you're very welcome to the Small Practice Information Session 85. I'm joined today by Darren Gibson from Gibson and Associates, and we're going to be discussing new ways of working in this changing landscape for independent consultants and solicitors. So Darren, you have a sort of a new model that you've sort of developed over time with regards to how you service your clients and how solicitors can participate in your program. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about it?
Sure, Justin. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone's keeping well. Great to get on to talk about some new ways of working in the context of the changing landscape. And obviously, what we're here to talk about is the independent consultant solicitor as an effectively new way to deliver legal services. So what we're going to cover today, if I can get the slides to move across. Excuse me for 1 second.
No problem. I think the gremlins are out there today.
Yes, indeed. There we go. So yeah, look, what we're going to cover today is we're going to look at our own backgrounds, some of the challenges that we all face as practitioners and business owners, some of the solutions that we consider appropriate for today's landscape, the changing landscape, some of the benefits that those solutions can drive, not only for the stakeholders, the practitioners, but also the clients and community. Who these solutions can potentially benefit, together with an actual example of somebody who has transitioned from traditional practitioner to an independent consultant solicitor, and how people can get started in this new way of working. So a little bit about ourselves. First of all, Gibson and Associates Solicitors was founded in 2009. I myself had a background in small, medium, and large international practices, starting at the latter end. And we currently service clients both nationally and internationally. We have 2 office locations, one Dublin city centre and our other one based in Letterkenny and Donegal. But as I say, our clients are very much spread nationally and internationally. We've managed with a very good team of people here to build a successful legal practice, focusing on a number of core areas, including property, litigation, immigration, and data protection. The team here have managed to scale from 2 to 60 over a short period of time. And within that group of 60 people, they come from multidisciplinary backgrounds, not exclusively legal professionals, which we feel adds significant value to our model. And, around 2011, as I say, having started in 2009, we really got serious about applying some investment to the business service side, as we kind of experienced, a change in buyer behavior. Consumers weren't connecting with law firms and through the traditional mediums. There was a big movement to the online space and customer engagement at that level. Obviously, us guys as legal professionals didn't necessarily have the skill sets on the lead generation, on the marketing, on the business management side. So we had to invest in those types of services, which we did, as I say, really from about 2011 onwards. We've enjoyed relatively good growth over that period, which has been organic growth through our existing team. But we've also acquired a number of legal practices and other businesses, I dare say, during that time as well. And look, we don't always measure our own success on pure financial terms. You know, we look at it in terms of the type of opportunity that we're generating for other people, the type of impact that we have on a pro bono level, and in the community in general. And we feel, as I say, we've had relative success in that regard. So during that period, we've recognised that there is a changing landscape that's been accentuated, obviously, by the experience we've all had during COVID, and people's changing demands and expectations, etc., etc. We also realise that, particularly in the Republic of Ireland at the moment, and indeed Northern Ireland for that matter, that there's, you know, very traditional service delivery models. You know, and we've got basically small firms, 1 and 2 solicitor practices, and we've got large firms. We've a relatively small middle order, and very little alternatives in between. Fully appreciate that we've got some other business models. We've got legal processing outsourced businesses and BPOs entering the market, as well as some of the accountancy practices. But by and large, legal services are delivered through large law firms in Ireland or small law firms. And what we're looking at is maybe creating a little bit of middle ground for legal professionals and indeed customers. We also have the various challenges that we all face. You know, clients now deservedly require 5-star customer service. Their level of expectations and tolerance around poor service delivery have changed enormously, and we have to be responsive to that. Also, our ability as legal business to generate new business, that game has changed. You know, the traditional models of connection have all but disappeared. Certainly, you know, good reputation and referrals still is a good way to get business, but you know, the online space is where it's happening. We also have the issues around fees contracting. You know, we experience it in property, highly competitive market. We also see what's happening in the PI sector at the moment as well, and indeed other areas, not exclusively litigation based or property based. You know, fees are under pressure. Unfortunately, the costs are not reducing to the same extent. In fact, they're going the opposite direction. They're escalating. You don't really need me to tell you that. You're experiencing it firsthand. Utilities have gone bananas. Service charges for IT professionals, case management systems, professional indemnity insurance, everything is on the up and up, and you know, most likely it's not going to be coming down. Inputs in terms of our business are becoming more technologically focused. I know, you know, when I started myself in practice, which is around 2004, 2005, you know, there was limited technology at that stage in comparison to what's now required to run a legal practice. And you're needing to have a very, very deep understanding of some of this technology as well in order for it to be effective. It has heightened significantly. This as well comes at a time where legal professionals and indeed other people working in the legal business require more flexibility. They require really work-life balance. That has become a non-negotiable now for a lot of people. Working the long hours of the past is not something people are willing necessarily to do in great numbers at the risk of, you know, other experiences in their life. And trying to balance all of this, there are limited options if it's a thing that you're employed as a solicitor, because that control piece isn't there, or certainly if you're a practice owner, given the amount of additional work you have to do other than purely legal work. So one way that we see there being an opportunity to create some middle ground and create a better opportunity to balance the challenges that I've just identified is the independent consultant solicitor. And this is where a solicitor effectively is given the opportunity to practice largely on a self-employed basis, where they can service their clients independently, but at the same time with all the support that a law firm and a multidisciplinary business can offer. And that really is the key point. And in this scenario, what we would envisage, or our vision, is that you have legal professionals who maybe are employed or they are existing practice owners. They don't want the responsibility anymore of the admin, the risk compliance, the marketing, the tech. They just want to practice law, what they were trained to do. And they can do that by effectively plugging into our platform. One, as I say, that we've invested heavily in to create an opportunity where people can basically have all the frills of a legal practice without all of the burden. And in practice, what would happen is the practitioners would connect to our system, our client account, our case management system, all of the other business services that we have, and basically go off and serve their clients well. Some of the benefits that you would have with this type of approach is that the practitioners, the legal practitioners, would get the opportunity to work pretty exclusively on their legal work. So if you're a property lawyer, you can crack on with the property work without having to worry about the IT system, without having to worry about gremlins in the case management system, without having to concern yourself about leases and all the usual stuff that comes with the administrative side of the business. I've mentioned it already. The key benefit is the access to the multidisciplinary team. We have, finance guys here. The head of our finance is an ex-commercial bank manager for 35 years. We also have an ex-CFO of an international company working with us. We have operational management expertise, people management expertise, which has become absolutely critical over the course of the last 2 or 3 years in particular. Data analysis has become huge, sales, marketing, and as I mentioned previously, the need to have an understanding around these areas has become so important, and superficial kind of understanding these areas, in my view, is not adequate anymore, given the kind of how granular they have become. One of the other benefits of being able to practice as an independent consultant solicitor connecting to a platform such as ours is the massive reduction in administration. All of that business admin side is taken care of by somebody like ourselves. Your costs are massively reduced. We worked up a model recently where if you were starting out in practice today as a sole practitioner, at a minimum, you've got about 120 to 140,000 euros worth of costs built in. So, you really only start turning profit after that first 125, 140,000. It's a very, very significant investment for anyone. And those costs are fixed costs. That's before you pay any staff or any assistance. What this also allows is, because you can focus on the stuff that you're really, really good at, your legal work, it's going to give your clients a much improved client experience. You're going to have more time to talk to clients, more time to serve clients, more time to understand what they need and give it to them. Also within the independent consultant solicitor model, you'll be working with other independent consultant solicitors. There's great opportunity for cross referral. And I suppose one of the key pieces is the opportunity for the financial reward. And with our arrangement, basically the legal professionals in this model can retain up to 80% of the fees paid. As an employed solicitor, that is not possible. As a sole practitioner or a partner in legal practice, that is also not possible. I can tell you, because I've been there and done that myself. And ultimately, the big one in all of this is a much improved work-life balance. Who does this suit? This really suits a number of different types of legal practitioner. Employed solicitors, guys who are a number of years qualified, have experience in the bank, who have shown themselves that they can generate their own client network. Clients like them, they serve their clients well, but at the same time, they want to fly their own flag. They want to do something where they have a little bit more autonomy than maybe associate level or senior associate level in legal practice. They want to get out there, but at the same time, they don't want all of the risk that comes with setting up a legal practice and onboarding that cost from day one. So it's something that would be very suitable for that type of practitioner. Sole practitioners, guys who are in sole practice, who are perhaps tired of it, tired of the administrative burden, don't really want to look or be involved in the business side of it anymore. They just want to crack on with conveyancing, personal injury, med and egg, environmental law. You know, they're areas of interest. This really suits somebody like that who perhaps just wants an easier run, serve their clients, and you know, generate some good income. Law firm partners, guys who are in partnership. You know, partnerships don't always work out. They bring their own complications. Don't get me wrong; some of them can work extremely well. But for partners who maybe don't want that politic anymore and want to be, you know, more autonomous, more independent, this is ideal for them. And then lastly, look at industry specialists. Perhaps you have guys who are working in-house, who, you know, want to have the direct client involvement. You know, want to provide service to customers. As opposed to the industry type role. It's ideal for them. Guys who've picked up specific skill sets and property, could be telecoms, any number of areas really, to be honest. And you know, our view is that with this type of model where people can plug into the system, serve their clients, do the legal work, it provides all of the benefits without all of the hassle. I'm not saying it doesn't provide some hassle, but it very, very significantly reduces the amount of hassle one has in providing legal services to clients. Here's an example. Neil Butler. Neil joined us on the independent consultant program. Neil has 35 years experience. He founded and owned his own successful legal practice. He's an active member currently of the Law Society E-Conveyancing Committee. And you know, to quote Neil, Neil suggested that having joined ourselves about a year ago, that has provided huge relief from stress related to PI renewal and general compliance issues by working with a supportive, well-resourced, highly systemized firm. It's allowed him to basically follow other interests, social and business, that are adding greatly to his quality of life. Neil's a great guy. It's worked extremely well for us with Neil, and it seems to be serving Neil and his clients pretty well as well. In terms of getting started, look, it's as simple as making an inquiry. Once the inquiry is made, we can set up a face-to-face meeting in person, or it can be done by way of Zoom. One of the critical pieces for us is the culture and value fit. and we would be really, really strong on that. It's important for us that there's good alignment between ourselves, the existing team, and any people who would be basically joining our team going forward. Because ultimately, if a person is an independent consultant solicitor, they're still a member of a team, and we think that that's a really important aspect of that support network. Some of our values are key, which is to say, first of which is customer first. We think that's really, really important, and all our decisions have to be driven with that in mind. As legal professionals, honesty, integrity are non-negotiables. We've got to have those in place. And then, the bit of humility and empathy is really important. And we usually find if we get people with all of those, it fits really well. And, the opportunity for maybe things not working out that well are vastly reduced. And once we have that culture and value fit, we move then to agreement in principle, and it's something then that can move quite rapidly thereafter. I mean, from initial point of discussion with Neil Butler to Neil being on board, I think we worked it in about 8 to 10 weeks overall, which correlates to any type of recruitment, really, to be honest. So, I mean, if it's a thing that we have anyone who would like to talk some more on Independent Consultant Solicitor Program, we're happy to field any questions on this forum. Or if you would like to contact us outside of this forum, we're more than happy to talk. And it can absolutely be on a no strings attached basis. This is something that can work with our firm, but it also is something that can be available with other legal businesses as well. We tend to think that we're pushing it out at the moment on the private client side in particular. Some of the other very large legal practices have similar offerings, but we feel that our platform is as competitive and gives people a greater flexibility, and we'll be happy to talk to anybody at any stage in relation to any queries that they have. Thank you very much for listening, and as I say, happy to field any questions that anyone has.
That's great, Darren. Thanks a lot for sharing your story today. Just if anyone wants to ask us a question, we'll take it on the chat. But I know there's a few questions out there, just sort of basic kind of like, do I retain my name, or do I operate under the Gibson and Associates brand?
Yeah, it would be envisaged that you would operate under the Gibson and Associates brand. Certainly we'd be presenting as a team, as I suggested, but you're completely independent. You're able to act autonomously. Obviously, there's certain guidelines and directions that we all must follow as practitioners, and the business services end of our business are there to ensure that all team members are in line when it comes to that.
So just some of the practical elements of it, like, do I need a practicing certificate, and how does the PII, the professional indemnity insurance, work?
Yeah, well, look, I mean, obviously any practitioner providing legal service in the state has to have a practicing certificate, so that's a necessity. And the way it works is once we agree to move forward, and that person is going to act as an independent consultant solicitor, they would fall under our professional indemnity insurance from that point forward.
And if I was to become part of the program per se, like, what happens to my existing employees and my office and the current infrastructure that I have at the moment? How do we approach that?
So yeah, look, if it's a thing that you're in practice at the moment and you make a decision that you would like to close that practice or move away from that particular type of environment, continue to practice in a different environment, obviously one has to close their practice or wind down their practice in accordance with the guidelines that the Law Society have very helpfully pulled together. And there's a very specific process that one must undertake there. And as I say, look, rather than getting into it here, it's very well detailed in the Law Society's own materials. Once the practice is wound down successfully and that practitioner or practitioners, as the case may be, enter runoff, we then would move forward by issuing a contract to the individuals so that they could practice with ourselves. Obviously, we don't want to, and this is not just we want to talk about, I'm talking about all of the participants, all of the stakeholders, including any independent consultant solicitors. We have to be mindful of the succeeding practice regulations, and we want to ensure that we don't fall foul of those.
Here's another question. Is there a liability with respect to the other partners for their work? And then maybe a follow-on question to that is also, what oversight is there over the consultant and vis-a-vis the consultant over the other part, over the firm?
Yeah, well, in terms of the oversight piece, that's hugely important. We all want to ensure that we're working in a well-regulated, well-supervised environment. So a practice like ourselves, we've been Lexcel compliant for about 10 years now at this stage, and particularly our last audit, we've got great feedback from the auditors, the Lexcel quality management auditors. So everybody that is involved in our business, all of the stakeholders, which would include the independent consultant solicitors, must subscribe to that quality management standard. So the business is organised and arranged in line with that. That essentially involves an oversight piece, which includes monthly auditing of files, monthly feedback in relation to those files, so that we can effectively arrange strong alignment to good quality management standards.
And then just a sort of, if I bundle them together, some questions around sort of the finances of this. So like, do I get a contract from Gibson Associates? How do I get paid? Who does the billing? Who pays the tax on it? Do I invoice the customers directly as a consultant and then refer you a fee? So maybe explain a little bit around that, just to.
Sure. Yeah. So, I mean, it's entirely up to the independent consultant solicitor when and how often they bill. And essentially the way it would work, the way it does work, is the independent consultant solicitor will issue their bill to their client. The client will pay that bill, or the funds will be on account. The independent consultant solicitor will submit their invoices on a monthly basis. And when I say submit, they're provided with a license to the case management system, same as our own internal solicitors, and their percentage of the invoice is paid on a monthly basis. If it is a thing that they want to be paid on a monthly basis. Some have a preference for quarterly. We're happy to pay it quarterly, but basically it's as simple as submitting the invoices and ensuring the funds are on account, and they're paid out within 7 days.
So just while you're answering that question, there was a query there around the case management system, and are all the cases on the same case management platform? I think the question is, are they visible to everybody, or does everyone have a unique license that allows them just to see their portion?
So yes, we have a very effective case management system, and the way that works is, for the independent consultant solicitors, they will have visibility and access to their own files. Other practitioners in our practice will not have visibility on their files, and vice versa.
Yeah, and just finally, we're coming up to the last sort of 2 minutes. Sorry to cut over you there.
Sure.
So just if anyone has a final question, we'll take it from you now. But there's a query there around succeeding practice and how this is achieved, in relation to winding down. There's a reference there to Neil's practice. So do you want to explain that a little bit further again?
Sure. Yeah, look, I mean, obviously, as I say, there's very strict guidelines in place in terms of winding down a practice and allowing for its closure. The succeeding practice regulations don't apply, in our view, where none of the badges of trade are required. The solicitor doesn't continue to trade from their own premises. We're not making any acquisition of assets, goodwill, or anything else. It's simply a case that we're entering into a consultancy arrangement with that practitioner. They may or may not have some of their own clients, but with practice closure, they have to give their clients a very clear indication that they're closing and giving that client an opportunity to join another practice, not necessarily ours or any subsequent employer of that particular practitioner. That choice has to be given to clients. So it's certainly our view, and you look up, we've taken advice at a very high level on this, that where none of the badges of trade are assumed, and that consultant solicitor doesn't essentially have a controlling interest in our business, the succeeding practice regulations don't apply.
Listen, Darren and Aileen, thank you very much for joining us today. Listen, thanks for answering all of our questions. I think this offers a real opportunity potentially for people to operate in a consultant environment, a lot more flexibility, focus more on legal work, get better paid, and benefit from being part of a larger group of people, and possibly get cross referrals and offer different range of services. So I think it's definitely a model for the future, and we wish you the best of luck going forward. If anybody would like to find out more, I think that they should contact you directly, and I'm sure you're open to taking queries from people, and they can contact you. Either I can give you out your contact details or via your own website, Gibson and Associates. So Darren and Aileen, thanks very much for taking the time to talk to us.
Justin, thanks very much for having us on. Really appreciate that.
So next week we're going to be talking with Liam Barrett around setting up a practice to yourself and some of the regulatory requirements from the Law Society. A little bit of a crossover what we were talking about today. So thanks very much for everyone for joining us. Hopefully you'll see you all next week. Slán agus gur mágad. Thanks Darren. Thanks Aileen. Bye.